Tough start to the season for the Edmonton Oilers as they fall to 0-3 following a 4-1 loss at the hands of the Calgary Flames. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the GCL Diesel Oil Stream postgame show. Tom Gazzola with you. Hernan Salas back at ESTHQ. Matt Kassian, our game analyst, will be joining us shortly to break it all down as Edmonton cannot get a win and drops the first Battle of Alberta. Tough week to start the season for the Orange and Blue. Let us know your thoughts, 780-218-9999. If you're making your way back from the game, fire us a text and give us an impression of how the building was for you, because a lot of anticipation, a lot of excitement, and it was all for naught. Text us if you're on the iHeart app, and tune in, as well as Apple Music and EdmontonSportsTalk.com. And of course, if you're watching on YouTube, get at us via the nasty chat. GCL Diesel, by the way, providers of the best diesel engine components around, from turbochargers to injectors, fuel pumps to sensors. They are the critical engine component experts, proud to serve Edmonton and Northern Alberta for over 50 years. Shout out to GCL Diesel for hopping on the Oil Stream pre- and post-game show again this year. Great to have them as proud sponsors and partners here at EST. All right, we're going to dive into this thing. I do want to read as many texts as I can and as many nasty chats as I can as well. Cass, of course, will be in there, and we will discuss this bad boy all together. But first, we start with the scoring summary and the game stats from Edmonton's 4-1 loss to the Calgary Flames. It started out great. Really good, actually. Jeff Skinner scored his first goal as an Oiler just a minute 16 in. Absolute domination on that first shift. Matthias Ekholm and Connor McDavid, the helpers. How about this concept? Get the puck on net and go for the rebound. And it worked. Skinner buries the Ekholm rebound past Dan Vladar. 1-0 Oilers. Later in the period, you'll recall Corey Perry redirected a Troy Stecher shot. Great play. Puck on net. Simple. Get in front of the goalie. Simple. If you're good enough, redirect it home. And that's what Corey Perry did. However, this one was reviewed because it was challenged by Ryan Huska. Turns out, goalie interference. No goal. They had to look at it forever. In my opinion, yes, there was contact with Vladar like seconds before the Stecher shot and the Perry redirection. But Vladar got up, reset. Perry got out of the crease, reset. And then Vladar, I thought, initiated contact with Perry with his blocker as he was looking for the puck. And then Perry redirects it home, and they call it goalie interference. That one I didn't understand. I'm looking back at the broadcaster. I'm looking at Patty Steinberg from Sportsnet 960, The Fan in Calgary. He's on the call with Derek Wills tonight. Great guys, great broadcasters as well. And I see Pat Steinberg go like, what? And that's the Calgary guy. He does the pre- and post-game show as well for the Flames, and he's going, what? No goal. I thought that was a bad call. And then there was another sequence there. Michael Backlund goes and he whacks Stuart Skinner on the back of the leg where the goalie doesn't have padding or protection. Skinner went down. No call, missed call. Bad sequence for the officials tonight. I'm not gonna blame this loss on the officials, but they didn't have a great night either, just like the Oilers the rest of the way. All right, to the second period we go. By the way, Oilers outshoot the Flames 10-5 in that first. Rasmus Anderson dipsy doodles around Zach Hyman and Connor McDavid, and then absolutely buries one top shelf on Stu Skinner. Skinner, I thought, actually had a pretty good game, made a lot of great saves, bailed his team out on a bunch of miscues, poor decisions, stuff that I'm going to ask Cass about. But Anderson buries that one, his second of the season at 7:30, 1-1. To the third period we go. Also, you know what? I should even talk about the second goal that was disallowed. This one offside. Victor Arvidsson a step ahead on a really nice goal by Derek Ryan that was all for naught, nullified, and that would have given the Oilers the lead as well. That one comes off the board, so 2 disallowed goals. As Reed Wilkins tweeted earlier, the Oilers have scored 3 goals this year, and they've had 3 goals disallowed this season. All right, in the third period, Anthony Mantha, he scores his second on a rebound from Pospisil and Anderson, and the McDavid line was getting caved in on that shift. And you just knew something bad was going to happen. Puck gets to the net. Mantha is able to fight off Zach Hyman in front, and then he tucks it under the bar past Stu Skinner at 7:06 to make it 2-1 Calgary. And then Justin Kirkland gets his first goal to make it 3-1 at 9:27 from Kevin Ball and Rasmus Anderson. A rebound that he tucks home. And then Connor Zary into the empty net, his second of the season, to make it 4-1 Calgary at 19:36. Shots on goal tonight, 29-25 in favor of the Flames. Face-offs, Edmonton good again on the face-off dot, 55.8% to 44.2. Power play goes 0 for 1. Didn't really threaten on that power play. And the PK had a much, much better night, going 3 for 3 coming into this game, 1 for 6 on the season. As I just watched the highlights again, bad rebound there by Skinner on the Kirkland goal, but nobody picking up the guy in front. Hits, 27-13 in favor of the Flames. Block shots, 19 for Edmonton, 14 for Calgary. Giveaways, 23 for the Flames. Edmonton with 20. Takeaways, 8 for the Oilers, 4 for the Flames. The numbers that matter are 4 and 1. Calgary, 4 goals. Edmonton, 1. Edmonton now 0-3 on the season. Keep those texts coming in, 780-218-9999. We're awaiting Matt Kassian. In the meantime, let's get to Hernan. If you're there, I feel like you're not too impressed with the Edmonton Oilers thus far, even though tonight, for parts of tonight, they were better.
Yeah, better start. Good first period. I mean, unlucky on the Corey Perry goal. That was just a bogus call. But like you, I'm not putting this on the refs. The Oilers didn't earn a lot of power plays. The Arvidsson goal, it was offside, plain and simple. Like, there's
you
nothing
can't argue
to say.
that one.
No. But this team, and we're getting a lot that this team is so mentally fragile. I don't buy that, because I saw them in the playoffs last year, bounce back against Vancouver, defeat a team that no one expected them to. Right. Against Dallas, and then coming back from 3-0 on Florida. I don't believe it's a, like, I don't know what it is, Tom. It's just frustrating to see this team continually to start slow out of the gates here. It's been 2 years in a row. The second goal, you saw Stuart Skinner. He was hard on himself. You know he should have had that one. Maybe a bad rebound. Maybe he should have reacted quicker to when Mantha was there. But the third goal as well. Podkolzin can't make a play on the boards, can't get the puck out. Darnell Nurse, puck watching again, like he always does. And the guy gets behind him, scores the goal, gets the rebound. So frustrating. I thought Dermott and Darnell Nurse took a step back today. They can't move the puck.
Dermott had a tough night.
They can't move the puck. How many times does Darnell Nurse have the puck on his stick, and he has to make a simple pass up into the center or the neutral zone, and it's icing, or it doesn't get to the player? That happened like 3 times today. Now, in that zone that led to the penalty, Dermott fumbled it. Nurse fumbled it. And then there was a forward with him, fumbled it. Where's Nuge and Hyman? They're invisible. I didn't even know Nuge played today. Like, the big boys got to start stepping up. Yeah. And enough with the refs, and everybody's crying about it. The refs didn't cost the Oilers this game. The Oilers cost themselves this game. They got 1 goal, Tom. They got 3 goals on the season. PK better, sure. Let's give him 2 thumbs up for that. But
Skinner was better tonight.
He was.
Skinner was better tonight.
But again, it's not enough. Vladar's making the saves. He's keeping this team in it. Skinner was up until that second goal, which, go watch the replay. Like, he's looking down, and then he's just frustrated with himself because he knows he should have had that one. So it's just at this point, Tom, it's one of those things where this team, I don't know what you do. They're going to win eventually. They might win Tuesday. Sure. But, like, why does this continue to happen? And it's not the coach, and it's not anything else. When your best player on back-to-back nights is Corey Perry, especially for the forward group, we have a problem. Defensively, we all knew this wasn't going to be a good decor. We've been saying it all offseason. All offseason. Stetcher, fine. Sure, he was fine tonight.
I thought he was all right tonight.
But Calgary came in here and they played a solid game. You know, the challenges were one was sketchy, one was good. But they came in here, they were physical, they played well. Look at the second goal with Rasmus Andersson. And no one calls 97 because he's great and he does a lot of things.
That was a terrible attempt on a check. Him and Hyman. Hyman missed with like a body check, if you want to call it that. McDavid with Cass calls it TV turn, but the flyby.
Yes.
With the stick, like the fishing, right? You go and get your fishing rod out and wiggle it around. And then Anderson with the laser because he has a good shot.
But
okay,
sorry, go ahead, Tom.
Just MB. I'm just reading some of the nasty chat, and it's fired up tonight, rightly so, because that's a woof of a week for the Oilers. MB says lack of heart, lack of pride, lack of effort, and then Banksy says the Oilers got pushed around tonight again, and they did. They really did.
No, I agree with you. Pospisil he took 2-3 solid runs at McDavid, and good on him. That's what you're supposed to do. I thought Edmonton responded well with the physicality in the post whistle scrums. I thought they held their own. I don't think Calgary ran them out of the arena in terms of physicality, but that team is
Calgary was the more physical team with the checks, I think. But you get up. The one that I didn't like was Draisaitl getting hit by Weegar, and he gets smashed. And that one looked a little iffy. There were a couple plays today. There was a missed call on Nugent Hopkins on a high stick as well. Again, not a great night for the officials, but like you said, Hernan, and I'm 100% with you, they are not the reason why the Oilers lost this game.
No. And we're getting a lot on the inbox about put Nurse in the press box. That's not going to happen, people. Darnell Nurse is a good defenseman. Has he been a good one for the Edmonton Oilers as of late? No. And he needs to find it. And I said it, and I've said it, and I'll keep saying no more excuses for this guy. He's not going to the press box, people. Look at this decor. You're going to put him in the press box? Who the hell are you going to bring in? Emerson? And then you got 4 third pairing guys out of the 6? Hell no. I'm not doing that at all. So I just don't get it, Tom. And we talked about it yesterday with Belzy. Lessons. Enough with the lessons. What else? Where are the big guys for this team? I said it. Where were Nugent Hyman? I thought Skinner and Arvidsson were, again, pretty good today. Enrique not doing much. I don't expect those guys to chip in offensively or do anything like that. But at the end of the day, man, the big boys got to step up here. This is you're 0-3 in a team that everybody had at the bottom of the standings in the Calgary Flames. They're rolling at 3-0. How does this happen again?
Effort, heart, determination, like MB pointed out the Oilers lacked in this entire homestand thus far. So that's how that happens when you have inferior talent and abilities and experience. And Calgary with the upstart Calgary Flames team, kudos to the Flames. They played last night in Calgary, traveled here. I know it's a 27-minute flight or whatever, but my goodness, man, like this Oilers team is as Belzy put it, actually, I'm going to quote him because you brought up his name. He texts me, he goes, game was woof, woof, woof.
Yeah.
And says, are the Oilers slow? That's from Belzy, who was in for Cass last night. So, all right, let's get to some text because Nanso's fired up. I see Cass is ready to go. And I want to hear from some of our viewers and listeners. If you're in the nasty chat, we're keeping an eye on you there, and we'll get to some of those. I already have. And then if you're listening on iHeartRadio, tune in, Apple Music, and of course, EdmontonSportsTalk.com's audio player. Text us 780-218-9999. Let's go to Mac Lamec. Says, I don't feel bad for the team, but I do feel bad for the fans in attendance who paid to see a Stanley Cup quote-unquote favorite poop the bed for the 3rd straight game. Yeah, fair point, Mac Lamec. Let's go to this one. Says, when things are going wrong as a player, you default to what you know, and the following was missing. Corey Perry not being the worm, a.k.a. Rat, when you need a boost. Arvidsson's supposed to be that gritty, hard-to-play against winger, and he is soft like McLeod. I disagree with that. I think Arvidsson has actually been pretty good, especially the last 2 nights. Hyman, the forechecker, a net from presence, is non-existent. I agree with that statement. And then this one, the final part of the text says, the whole team not responding as a team when pushed, no one having each other's back. That's a fair point as well. John from St. Albert. John says, Tom, the other team at Rogers Place, the Oil Kings, know how to win and be in sync together, unlike the big boys with the Oilers at the moment. In sync, John of St. Albert, is a key word there. And the Oilers are definitely not in sync right now. Big Dave says, I'm not pushing the panic button, but as a longtime fan, it's getting really tiring watching this team stumble out of the gate. They just don't seem engaged or willing to work for gritty wins. Agreed. All right, let's get Cassian in here. He's ready to rock. Matty Kassian, our game analyst, says the Oilers fall 4-1 to the Calgary Flames, 0-3 on the season. Terrible start once again for the Oil. It's officially a bad start. Not that we were saying that 0-2 with 1 goal scored and a 16.7% PK was particularly good riding into tonight. But Cass, your overall impressions off the top here after that.
Well, the PK was better, wasn't it?
3 for 3. It was better.
PK was better.
Yeah,
I
see what you
actually
did there.
Yeah, the PK was better. That's a positive. Yeah, I mean, they're going to probably look at this one, the Edmonton Oilers, and they're going to say, well, you know what? Yeah, that 1 goal was offside. We don't really agree with that called back Corey Perry goalie interference goal. And if we had that second goal, maybe it would have been a different game. But the reality is it was called back. And Calgary, when they were able to hang around, just continued to improve. And Edmonton didn't. You know, it really felt like, especially after that second goal called back, like the offside, that Calgary raised their play and Edmonton sagged. And then from that point on, I would argue, Tom, Edmonton was a better team up until that point.
I'm with you on that.
Yeah, and then they just sagged. And no one really took initiative to take the initiative in the game back. Like they just they fell apart after that point. And you know, the challenging thing, Tommy, and we can break them all down. If we break down all the Calgary goals, not one of those goals was something that Calgary really earned. You know, there was not one of those goals was Calgary going like, oh, Calgary made some really nice plays. Edmonton executed well, but they just beat you with it. Every single one of the first 3 goals against was Edmonton doing something very, very, very poorly in the defensive zone. So it's just like defensive mistakes come back to haunt them again. And you're 0-3 to start a season, Tom. Kind of right where no one expected and no one thought they would be. And maybe that's the problem. Maybe they thought they'd be 3-2 and that they weren't going to have to battle for it. Not that they, like, I don't think that this is a group that goes out and with the intention of, hey, I'm going to have a lazy night tonight. Hey, we're not going to work tonight. That's not what they're doing. But execution wise, Tom, was just poor again tonight, the second they got deflated.
The Oilers did have a couple of posts. Like Connor Brown had that great steal, he had the partial break, and he rifled it off the post. Jeff Skinner had the one that kind of caught the bar and went out. They had a few opportunities, but you know what, Cass? The thing, just observing this team in the early part of the season, is like they're tossing each other grenades in their own zone.
Yep.
Have you noticed that? Like Darnell Nurse and Travis Dermott tonight, some of the grenades they were launching at each other, I'm like, my goodness. One of them, Dermott, put right into the slot, and Skinner had to bail him out. And then even Ekholm and Bouchard have been guilty of it as well. Like this is kind of concerning. Like if you're Mark Stewart and Paul Coffey working with the defense, what are you telling these guys?
I mean, dude, holy crap. Like, that's what you're telling them. Like,
what's going on? Holy crap is right.
Oh, man. We talked about it before the game, about moving the puck north quickly and where the defense had not been clean in transitioning the puck to the forwards. Tonight, I think it was more of the same, and they really struggled in just transitioning the puck to each other as well. Like, there was no or very few clean plays by the defensemen, which is concerning. Now, Bouchard and Ekholm, we can give them a bit of a pass, let's say, because generally they're pretty good, and generally they're good. They've been really good. So if they have a little bit of an on-off night, okay, fine, whatever. But man, everyone else, it's been, you know, the other 4 defensemen who has stepped up and had any kind of a good game in the first 3 games. Nobody. Tommy, it's been
Stetcher seemed okay for chunks of this game, and that shouldn't be the guy
Maybe,
you notice and go, hey, he's good on defense.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe, but I mean, Tom, yeah, it was bad again. And the forwards didn't help either. You know, if we're looking at that first goal, McDavid just guesses, picks a side, and misses on Anderson, who just is able then to walk in because McDavid was just basically picked a side and threw everything into that play to say he's going this way. And guess what? He wasn't. So completely misses him. Goal against number 2. Hyman just loses a battle in front. Now, winger, it's usually not where you are, but you have to still find a way to find a stick, find a guy. But on the Mantha goal, he doesn't get it. You know, now we can blame Darnell pretty much entirely on the Kirkland goal. I have no idea what he was doing.
Cass, this defense they don't pick up their guys in front of the net.
No.
And Hyman was guilty on the first, or the Mantha one, because it was Hyman engaged with him.
Yeah, that's what I said. Hyman, winger in front of the net, loses the battle. Yeah. So he loses the battle in front of the net on that. So forwards aren't helping either. They're not helping the situation. But man, like Tommy, it's just not, or it hasn't been the first 3 games. Like it's showing some gaping holes, and it's showing some real problems in the depth of the defense, which we knew there were going to be some.
Yeah.
But it looks like it's just more dramatic. And the thing is, Tom, is I think it's affecting, as you said, bobbled passes, not able to get the pucks to the forward. It's affecting your offense on the other side of it, because you're playing defense, you're scrambling, you're throwing grenades, you're throwing hopes, and there's nothing there. There is nothing there right now. And I had a Fred send this to me, and I think it's true when we're just texting about the game and the quality of it. And we've been talking about coming into the season with the high expectations that the Oilers had.
Sure.
And the motivations that they have to get back there and to do it again. And he said to me, remember, every corpse on Mount Everest was once a motivated person. And that kind of feels like the Edmonton Oilers are building themselves in Everest, right? And which is so crazy to say that, Tommy, because that's exactly where we were last year. And it's 3 games. It's a 3-game losing streak. You know, if they won the first 5 games and then lost 3 in a row, we'd be like, oh, well, that 3 in a row is concerning, but we wouldn't be feeling or having the same feelings we have right now. But I guess just the manner in which they lose these games. And again, tonight, only scoring 1 goal, making big mistakes. Yes, they had some more chances to score. They had the post from Brown. You mentioned the post from Skinner already. So it's like there was chances there, but pretty hard not to have a really sour taste in your mouth.
People do. I can tell by reading these texts that are coming in, 780-218-9999. And then Nasty Chat, if you're watching on YouTube, Scoobs texts in, says, guys, Dermott, much, much worse than Cody Ceci was. That is a big problem. You and I have talked about appreciating Ceci a little bit more now, watching the guys operate that are on the roster right now. Another one comes in from Scalding Gourd, says, even if the Oilers would have won this game, they look like a mess. The Perry call is technically right, but incredibly stupid. Maybe losing again will wake something up, because playing this way cannot continue. Scalding Gourd adds, Oilers were the better team early than sagged. 100% Scalding Gourd. Same as the Chicago game. At least the Jets game, they didn't give Oilers fans false hope of a complete game. And then Dave says, this lineup has lost 5 games in a row, scoring 6 goals and allowing 25. 2 were preseason. This is a bigger deal that people think. Team is too slow, soft, and weak. And then Reed Wilkins, who will be joining us after he works the room, sent in this quote from Chris Knobloch. Cass, I want to hear your thoughts on it. Chris Knobloch in Game 3 of this season, where his team has gone 0-3 and has scored just 3 goals, says, I don't think there's enough desperation.
That's fair.
Yeah,
that's a fair statement by Knobloch, and I would say an accurate statement. There, we had some of it and some of that feeling in the third period towards the end when they were down 2 with the net empty. Some guys scrambling and battling, but there wasn't. Where's the desperation? Now, maybe a different type of desperation,
right?
Not a desperation of like this game matters to the point where we're going to do whatever it takes to win. There's desperation, and I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just going to panic with the puck and throw it. There's been that type of desperation, but those are different types of desperation.
Yes.
One's a motivating, driving desperation, and the other one's just panic plays. And they made too many panic plays. I would say that Knobloch makes, in that quote from the wonderful Reed Wilkins, work in the room, an accurate assessment in that there is not enough desperation. There is not at this point. Nope. Not even close.
Stanley Cup final hangover. I don't know, but they are discombobulated, out of sync. It's all the stuff that Cass, you were talking about earlier on game changers that needed to be better. It did not happen. Let's go to this text. Says, at this point, I wouldn't go around claiming Nurse is still a good defenseman. I understand they have nobody else to put in his place, but when was the last time he looked good? That's from Lloyd.
2 games in the playoffs after he got called up by everyone. He looked good for 2 games.
And then his game went back.
Before that, a little bit of time. He's a guy you need, right? Call him good, don't call him good. Say he's overpaid, say he's not overpaid. Whatever you want, regardless of how you feel about Darnell Nurse, you need Darnell Nurse. I want to jump in now that Hernan Salas slides in here because I want to pitch this question to both of you guys, and it's one that Dusty dropped in the nasty chat, and we've seen a bunch of texts about it and a bunch of nasty chat comments about it. So I think it's fair to go. Okay. So I'm going to pose it to both you guys. So this is on behalf of Dustin Nielsen, the one and only. So Hernan and Tommy, are these guys just old and slow?
Well, they are the oldest team in the NHL, right, Tommy?
I think they're right up there.
Yeah, I think they are the oldest, but still have the wheels of McDavid. I mean, Arvidsson, Skinner get around well. Nurse, they look slow though, Cass. That's the thing. They're playing slow.
Okay. Sorry to interrupt, but is the type of slow that they are right now because of like their feet don't literally move fast enough? They don't have burners, or are they slow as in they can't move the puck properly? So they hang on to it, like they did on, I don't know how many times Bouchard would just sit there. Is it because they don't move the puck fast enough? So like we need to differentiate between which type of slow. Boots don't move quick enough or they don't move the puck quick enough, because they've been talking about not moving the puck quick enough. Mm-hmm. And we saw that a ton tonight because I think they can still skate pretty quick.
That's a great point, Tom, because the defense is struggling moving that puck, right? So I think you're on to something there where they're just not moving it quick enough, so everybody just looks a lot slower because they're not getting into the zone quicker and all that. So I think that's a good point that it's falling at the, and it's not all on the defenseman, but they got to start moving that puck a lot quicker.
Like if you tell me Corey Perry's slow as a skater, I'll be like, yes, he's 38 years old or 39 or whatever. But if you're telling me like a Jeff Skinner or a Victor Arvidsson, guys like that are not fast skaters, then I'd be like, I disagree. You know, they're not McLeod wheeling through the neutral zone. They're not Warren Fogle busting in to get in on the forecheck. I get that, but like I still think that they can skate fast enough, literally skate fast enough, Cass. They move the puck like molasses.
Yeah. Yep. I tend to lean right now more towards your point here, Tommy, in that they're moving the puck like molasses, holding on to it too long. I guess as a follow-up question though for you, Tommy, on that, because it's one that I've started to chew on a little bit as well. And I don't know if I have the answer to it. On the comment or on the side of not just moving the puck slow, but just too slow as a team. Mm-hmm. Do you think losing some of that speed on the forecheck, so Fogle,
good point,
McLeod, does that affect them where they're not turning pucks over, not creating offense because of it? Like they're not making it difficult for the other team to transition.
Yeah.
So, they're just making it more difficult on themselves, playing defense more.
And that's a great point. Like that's where those guys were good disruptors. But I would point to Arvidsson. I'd point to Connor Brown being pretty effective so far this season. Even Matthias Janmark, like those guys can get in there, disrupt, get pucks back for you. One thing that, I'm watching and I'm there for these 3 games sitting up top and you have a great view of everything. You can see plays develop. It's like when they get those pucks, guys, and they are hungry on the forecheck and they win those battles, they make bad decisions with the puck. Like it just seems like they're coughing it up, giving it away. And you're like, well, who was that to? Why did you pass to that guy? I've said that so many times in the last 3 games. I sit beside Shoggy and I'm like, Shoggy, who the hell was he passing to? After like, I'll be like, good play, good forecheck, terrible pass. Why is that happening? Where's the decision making right now? So I'll still lean towards, I think they have the quote unquote team speed, quickness to be successful. Do they have the burners that they did before? No, they don't. That's obvious. But like they make dumb choices when they do have the puck in the offensive zone and defensive zone.
That's a good point, because you lost Fogle, McLeod, and Holloway, all guys with great speed, right? I mean, not the most offensive guys, but they would get in there. So,
but how many minutes did those guys play, Hernan? Is the counterpoint, right? Like, and again, I'm still chewing on this. I don't think I'm at a point where I have that final answer, but it's not like those guys played McDavid minutes. They didn't play Draisaitl minutes. Now the bigger switch to me is the Vinny Desharnais, Cody Ceci both being gone.
Okay.
Cody Ceci being the linchpin in that. And again, people get so, or were so anti-Ceci over and over again. I don't know how many times I defended him. And again, complete bias. I will always say that towards him because he's my friend, an old teammate.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I think people just truly underappreciated what he brought on that. And I think some of that, just the overall sloppiness and team play, like Cody Ceci didn't make that many sloppy mistakes. He just didn't. Did he make mistakes? Yeah. But I don't know, guys. It's one we're going to be chewing on a little bit here, and unless they start winning, it's just going to get worse. So,
and it's huge. Sorry, Tom. It's huge on the PK too, right? Like the CC and Desharnais. Like if they struggled 5-on-5, fine, but their bread and butter was a PK cast. Like they were really good on the PK. Yep. And I know today
PK was better today.
Yeah, it was better today. But those guys, like. You're kind of, and I was one of those guys. I was like, it's okay to move on. But I always said, if you're going to move on from those guys, you got to bring someone that's better. And they didn't, Cass. I think that's the big one here. And now you're seeing kind of the value that both those guys brought, not only with the PK, but with Vinny, the physicality. And, they may, careful what you wish for sometimes, Cass. And I think a lot of people, including myself, are eating our words on those two defensemen.
And Vinny Desharnais, I would say the less of that. Him for the penalty kill.
Mm-hmm.
Him for the penalty kill, but you do get a little bit of that physicality. But yeah, I mean, it's listen. Regardless, we could talk about that, and we could talk more about Cody Ceci. We could talk about keeping Broberg. Talk about a lot of things, but the reality is this is the team that they have right now. Unless there is something in the works, or they're able to spin something quick, and there's not a lot of prospects in the cupboard to make a move. And other teams, so early in the season, they're going to look at this and kind of go, you're rubbing their hands together, licking their chops a little bit, because it could be a juicy one if Edmonton has to pick up the phone. If they see Bowman's number on the other side, like, Edmonton's going to have to figure something out. But the likelihood of a trade being imminent is very, very low. And so we have to return to, what does this team have to do to clean it up? What do they have to do to execute? Tom, I don't know what the answer is.
It's up here again. It's all up here, these guys, man. It's so frustrating because it's the same damn thing year after year after year. I think this is year 6 with me, Cass, now. And Nanso, you've been here with us at the old shop and the new one. I think we're like 4 or 5 years together as well. And we always talk about like the mental fortitude that sometimes goes completely MIA with this group. So it's the same
Cass, damn
thing.
I asked Belzy too. You're in the NHL. You played you were around pro players. Like, is there anything like this team just was one win away from winning the Stanley Cup? Is there anything being said this early in the season there? Like, because I know Belzy was like, no, it's probably too early. These guys have been there, done that. But like, this has got to be I'll say a little alarming that once again, you're 0-3. You have 3 goals, Cass, in this stretch. How do you see this dressing room handling this right now?
Yeah. Great question, Hernan. Really great question. People aren't going to like what I have to say. The fans, they're not. People
just do it.
Like
Rip that Band-Aid off.
They are freaking out way less than we are.
Yeah.
And they're probably freaking out way less than management may be freaking out. Now management maybe not, maybe a little bit, or concerned, but not freaking out. Not nearly as much as us. Definitely not nearly as much as the fans, because they're going to look at this and go, yeah, it's 0-3. Is it good enough? No. Do we need more desperation? Yes. There are 79 games left in the season. And, much as you don't want to look enough about last year, they know they have the capacity to go on a run. They know they have the capacity to score goals. At some point, they had some posts today, so there's some chances there, and they're going to look at this and go, yeah, there are a lot of things we have to do better. We have to execute better, but we're not going to execute this poorly for 79 more games. We're not going to execute this poorly. They're going to be concerned, but they're not going to be freaking out like we are and like everyone else is. And, fair from a mental standpoint from an athlete. I mean, you don't want to be in panic mode,
right?
You don't want to just start losing your mind and just fighting with each other and yelling at each other and all that. However, you would hope that there is enough concern for the quality of the play inside the room that, some of those conversations aren't easy conversations. You don't have to be yelling at each other, but setting the expectations is going to be important. And we'll have to see what Knobloch does with that. Some of that is going to be dictated by him and the decisions that he makes, that the minutes, ice time is currency. The decisions he makes with that is, we're going to have to see. So, and there were, a few bright spots. I know we haven't gone there yet. Maybe we'll go here now if you guys want to.
Yeah, go for it.
Bright spot for me today, maybe the only one if I look at the whole game, was Jeff Skinner. I thought he was solid today. I thought he was around it. He had the post, he had the had the goal. He looked engaged today. He did. So I liked Jeff Skinner's game. And I'll let you guys run with it from there.
I'll second you. I actually thought Stu Skinner was much better. I mean, the rebound goals.
That also.
Nobody picking up their men in front. I'll just leave it at that. Hernan, any other bright spot? I'll say Connor Brown as well.
Yeah, Connor Brown, Corey Perry. Jeff Skinner, yeah, he was engaged. He scored the goal. Should have had another one. I'm like what I'm seeing from that player. Looks like he's having fun. He was on the bench smiling. So that's a positive sign. And I've liked Arvidsson every game. Well, maybe outside of the first one, but last game, yesterday, he was engaged. So I like both guys so far. The guys that need to start showing up are Hyman and Nuge. They're MIA
big dogs
right now.
Two guys, yep.
Draisaitl, too. Like, what's going on with them? Like, there's this malaise, it seems like, Cass.
Yeah, and I would double down on that from Hyman, where he's a guy that needs to be a driver, and it hasn't been as much.
Right,
2 or 3 games, we haven't seen much from him. Yep. I want to ask you guys another question because I think it's a great question. I'll have my answer after. From Ro Nelson on the Nasty Chat, says, Cass, what does losing 40% of the Game 7 team do to the team vibe when they weren't replaced with overall as much talent as they had? Now, I want to ignore the second half of that. I want to ignore the talent part of that question.
Okay.
Because I don't think that's as relevant. But I think that first part of the question is really relevant. So what does losing 40% of the Game 7 team do to the team vibe?
That's a good question.
I know that like McLeod and Fogle, especially CC, those were and Desharnais, those are well-liked guys.
Especially CC.
Yeah.
Desharnais was too.
Yeah.
But I'm intrigued though, Cass. Like if you go around the NHL, what's the percentage? Like what's the kind of the average of roster turnover per team, right? Because every team at least makes 2 to 3 or 4, right?
You're going to have a couple, yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good point. I'm not sure what the average would be. But you also have to remember, like glue guys and people that are well-liked in the dressing room, it can have an impact on the feel of the room, on the personality of the room, on the vibe of the room. It can change that. And that can be difficult for guys to deal with, especially guys that were close to them. Now, that in and of itself becomes an argument for a guy like Darnell Nurse to say, okay, you could move him, but you'd have some guys that are upset. And granted, McDavid, Draisaitl, best players in the world, they should still be fine. But changing the chemistry inside the room, it can have an impact. I mean, and I'm going to go back. Granted, we weren't nearly as good or even close to the caliber of the Edmonton Oilers, but I'll go back to when Daniel Alfredsson left us in Ottawa for the Detroit Red Wings.
Right.
Now, ownership and management were absolute meatheads with how that went down. Were completely foolish in how they handled that. They sewered him publicly, which they never should have done. He said things that he did not say. It was ugly behind the scenes. It was ugly in the media and in the press because the team made it that way. But losing Daniel Alfredsson, and it's not like Alfie at that point in his career. It's not like he was a 30-goal guy. It's not like he was playing 25 minutes a night. It's not like he was the Daniel Alfredsson, that was like with Spezza and Heatley. Like he was not at that level.
Mm-hmm.
He was at the end of his career, but losing that personality and that character and that leadership from our room, it blew us up. It blew us up that next year where we were horrible. We were horrible. Granted, we Cinderella team for the first round where we knocked off Montreal the year before.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe could have been pushing for a wild card spot type of team for that 8th spot the next year. It's not like we're going to be a deep playoff team, but we were just absolutely awful. And so much of that had to do with Daniel Alfredsson leaving, like where we just guys fell apart. A lot of the young European players we had went off the rails, and there was no.
What do
one
you mean by that? Like
by go off the rails?
Yeah. And I'm not asking with any malice. I'm just curious.
The thing that Alfie did so well with young guys, and with the young Europeans in particular, was he made sure everyone was pulling the cart in the same direction for him.
Right.
So it's like he had the ability to speak in a positive way and in a stern way if necessary to some of those young guys to get them playing the way that the team needed them to play, not just the way that they wanted to play. And I think that really hurt us. Now that's not the same. Cody Cece's not Daniel Alfredsson.
Fair.
He's not Daniel Alfredsson. And I say that with the most, again, I love Cody, but it's just, he's not not Alfie.
Yeah.
And he's not, it wasn't your captain, wasn't a player that Cody Cece hadn't been here for 15 years, 16 years of his career at this point. Like, it's not like he's a long-standing guy like that. But I guess I'm trying to use it as a larger example of,
right.
Having a guy leave and having personality leave that, interacts with other people, just like any team, it can change it. And sometimes it can change it more than others. And I'm not saying that's necessarily exactly what the case is. We're not in the room on a day-to-day basis, talking with those guys, interacting. We're not on the bus, on the plane, in practice. So we can't see that. But to answer the question of, how much of an impact can it have? It can have a huge impact having that much turnover, especially, and I would say even more so for a team that was 1 goal away from winning the Stanley Cup, right? Where it's like, we were 1 goal away from winning the Stanley Cup and now there's all these changes. And that can take some working through, but the reality at the end of the day is that these are professionals and you got to find a way to move on from that. If you haven't yet, you have to find a way to move on from it.
Good answer. I like that. Cass, that was a good question. Shout out to, who was that brought it up? Was it in the nasty chat? Well done.
Yeah, I got to pull back up to there again because I can't remember who said it.
No, but that's a good point and a good example. Let's go to Operator Rich texting that says they're so bloody focused on cap space for the deadline, but failed to think about actually making a good enough team to get there. I think they have a good enough team. The talent's there. The execution isn't. The mental sharpness is definitely not there right now. As Mop put it in the inbox, looks like the boys still on honeymoon hangover. Let's get to some other texts here. Cass, we got you for a couple more minutes.
Yep.
Okay. This one from Joe Not Exotic. Great name. Holy heck, Tommy and the boys, they suck. How long until they address the third pairing? Watching the game with Sticky Rice, and she is not happy. Yeah, I don't blame her. Peter says the offense will come. I wouldn't be panicking about that. It's the defense that's a concern for me. And then kind of another little anecdote. This one from Scalding Gourd says that Kelly Rudy was talking about after the Kings went to the final in 93, they started 94 slow, but didn't worry because they started slow the year before it got to the final. They didn't worry about and then continue to crash the rest of the season. It's not always a case where they come around, so I wouldn't want to bet on it and relax. And then Scalding Gourd added, Glenn Sather would always say that the turnover rate that was ideal was 20 to 25% every year to keep everyone hungry. All right. Keep those coming in. 780-218-9999. Dell says, hey, look, EST has 3 bad shows in a row. You don't see Dusty firing anyone. Patience. I don't think we've had 3 bad shows in a row, to be honest. That's how good our lineup is and our talent.
Nope.
I'm biased, but
yeah.
yeah. All right. Keep those texts coming in 780-218-9999. If you have anything for Cass, we have a couple minutes left for him, and we will bounce those off of him. Nanso, anything you seeing yet before we get? Do we have any clips or anything yet?
Yeah, we got Nurse, McDavid, and Coach coming up. So
Okay.
probably I don't know if we'll run all three, but
do we have any of them already?
Yeah.
Okay. How about this, Cass? Do you want to hear one or two of them in particular, and then share some thoughts, and then we'll take a look ahead to Tuesday? How does that sound?
Yeah, let's hear. We got one quote. We got one quote from Knobloch already. From Reed. So let's knock out Darnell Nurse, and then we'll go from there.
You in terms of what's going wrong, kind of night in, night out here, and why you haven't been able to win a game?
I think our team play just all around could be probably a little more connected, whether it's defensively, offensively. Having that cohesion and being a unit of five all over this.
How do you get up to the emotional level, the intensity level that you need to be competitive in this league? Because both Connor and Zach said you guys weren't very good.
Yeah, no. A little more life, a little more juice out of our group. And there's plenty of us that can probably bring it, so we need to bring it on more of a nightly basis.
Darnell, is this start more surprising given what happened last year and the importance of getting off to a good start that you guys have talked about? Does this make it all the more surprising?
No. Surprise is the word, because everyone's coming in here and working and trying to do the right things. No one comes to the rink and says we want to give up how many goals we've given up and not have the results we have. Everyone's been coming in and working. I think for us we got to take it to another level and just work our way out of the spot that we're in right now.
This is a good team and a really veteran team. How come it's so difficult to have command of your game? You guys haven't been able to find your game yet this season.
Yeah, no, I think if we had the answer, we wouldn't be sitting here at 0-3. So, like I said, it's up to us as a veteran group, guys that have been in different spots in this league, to just work our way out of it. Every time that we've been in a tough spot here, over the last few years, we've put our heads down and just worked and took it one day at a time, and that's the approach we got to take.
Chris Knobloch said, everyone's talking about turning the page emotionally from last year, and Chris Knobloch admitted that that's a tough thing to do. How are you feeling about where your team is, in fact, turning the page from last year and focusing on this year?
Yeah, it's probably easier said than done, but at this point, the season started, and there's to a man, there's no excuse. We're on to the next one.
All right, that was Darnell Nurse, -1, 21:39 time on ice. He had 3 shots, 5 blocks, and 1 giveaway in this game. Put your head down, go to work. That was his answer, one day at a time. Cliche there. Cass, anything that you take out of that and go, okay, that nugget might be worth using?
Well, the 2 nuggets were some of the first ones. We probably could have cut it after, I think, the first question. In that, what does the team need? They need to be more connected. What does the team need? They need to be more a unit of 5. We talked about that, where they're not connected. They're not playing as a unit. They're not communicating. They're throwing pucks around. They're not playing a cohesive game as a team. They're playing maybe little individual games. They're not playing a full team game at this point.
Is it as simple as them getting on the road and just getting hammered together and becoming best friends? Or is that too simple?
Maybe.
They go to Nashville.
Maybe you got to get
Wednesday.
that first road trip in. Boys will be excited for that. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, someone's going to try to work in rookie party as soon as they can here. Not that there's any, I don't even think they have any rookies. It's going to be an interesting rookie party. Yeah. Not a lot of those guys running around. Maybe they'll call it veteran party and the vets can pay for it all. But that's everyone again. So maybe just, get together. I don't know. But maybe what they need, Tom, is just to get on the road and to spend a little bit of that time. And it almost needs like a go to war type of event, inside of a game where something happens, someone dishes out a big hit, someone takes a big hit, something happens, goalie gets bumped. I don't know, something to kind of fire everyone up and pull everyone together. Maybe start a bench brawl. Let's see that.
Bring it on. Okay, really quickly, Cass, your thoughts going into Tuesday if the Oilers want to get their first win of the season? What has to happen against Philly?
Cohesion, Tom. Execution and cohesion. Primarily in the defensive zone. Can't have the major mishaps. We talked about 3 of them today. You know, McDavid guesses to the wrong side of Anderson, misses in the back of your net. Hyman gets beat in front of the net, in the back of your net. Darnell Nurse turning completely the wrong way, losing a guy, pucks in the back of your net. You know, those 3 goals against, 3 major mistakes by the Oilers. Get those major mistakes out. Execute on your passes, give yourself a chance, and bear down and score on those chances where you're putting them off the post.
Let's see if they can do that on Tuesday. Cass, great stuff as always. Happy Thanksgiving, my friend. Enjoy that leftover brisket that you made. Succulent meats. Delicious.
Delicious meat.
And I'll see you on Tuesday, pal. Great work.
Sounds good, boys.
That's Matt Kassian, our game analyst. Great stuff from him. As always, we're going to get to read Wilkins, who's ready to hop on after working the room following Edmonton's 4-1 loss at the hands of the Calgary Flames. Keep those texts coming in, 780-218-9999. Like, share, subscribe on YouTube, and get into the nasty chat. It is time for the turning point of the game, presented by Advantage Sports Medicine and Physiotherapy. At Advantage Sport Medicine and Physiotherapy, we treat you like the pros. Our multidisciplinary team includes sports medicine physicians, highly skilled physiotherapists, strength and conditioning coaches, and massage therapists. Whether you're recovering from an injury or looking to enhance performance, we treat you like a pro using the same locker room approach, trusted by the best in the game. Your turning point of the game came at 5:40 in the second period. Things were looking good for the Oilers. We have to remember they were playing well. They had a good first period. The second period started out well. I don't think they gave up a shot to the Flames till about 7.5 minutes into the game. They had a 1-0 lead. They had the Corey Perry goal called back, but at 5:40 of the second, Derek Ryan scores a really nice goal on a nice pass and nice setup that ends up being ruled offside after the coach's challenge. It was Victor Arvidsson who went offside. It was clearly offside. We're not going to, dispute that. A successful, good challenge by Ryan Huska and the Flames. Just a fraction of a second of a delay from Arvidsson, and we could be talking about a different outcome tonight for the Oilers, because it seemed like that second goal pulled off the board for them deflated the sails. So that is your turning point of the game, presented by Advantage Sports Medicine and Physiotherapy. The Derek Ryan goal that was really nice, waved off and ruled offside because it was. So having said that, let's bring in Reed Wilkins. He is ready to go. Wilkie was fired up. You were a hot tamale in that first period. You did not like the disallowed goal on Corey Perry. Where do you want to start, big boy? Because we've had a lot of great texts come in tonight.
Yeah, well, I don't want to do the disallowed goal first because they lost the game again. I do want to touch on that because I think it's a storyline.
I want you to not kill our ears.
Am I too loud today?
You were so loud.
Okay, how's that?
Oh, way better.
I left my mic level at the same it was yesterday. So,
all right, where do you want to start? Go ahead.
Okay, sorry about that. Is it? Let me know if it needs to go up or down.
No, you sound great.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Well, I put this on Twitter, and I asked Knobloch about it, and Cass and who touched on it. I think Hyman McDavid touched on it. They cannot pass the puck with any efficiency.
No.
And that is, for me anyway, and I know there's a lot of different opinions, but that is what I find most stunning. Is that, first of all, there are far too many occasions in which they don't even look like they know who the puck is supposed to go to.
Yeah.
And that is extremely rare in the NHL. I mean, we talk a lot about hockey IQ. And, even in the NHL, some players separate from each other. But if you've made the NHL, you know where the puck should go. Now, sometimes you might get hit or pressured and you can't put the puck there. Sometimes you might make a mistake, sure. But the number of times that the Oilers look like they don't even know who is supposed to be getting the puck next is very odd. Point one, when it comes to passing, McDavid called it puck And they use the word connectivity and playing connected a lot going back to last year. And then my second part of that is when they do move the puck and when they do appear to be moving it to the correct person to advance the play, it is very concerning how many times they miss the pass or fail to receive the pass properly. And why I bring this up first, and look, I appreciate all the opinions you're going to be get tonight, but why I personally bring this up first is because these are basic skills that NHL players should have perfected when they were approximately 8 years of age. Who gets the puck next? Like if you make the NHL, probably from about the age of 8, you've been able to identify who you should give the puck to and accurately and efficiently do it almost all the time. Like I've watched the Brick tournament, and they're pretty good at passing the puck. I'm not suggesting that a Brick team could beat an NHL team, but my point is the Oilers are failing quite often at one of the most basic skills of the game of hockey. And I have trouble understanding that. I don't care how many new players in the lineup from last year. I don't care how far you went last year. I don't care how emotional or lack of emotional you were in the preseason. Passing the puck efficiently is a very basic skill that is not being done nearly enough. And I don't know how to fix that. And I don't know why that would be such a problem for an NHL team, whether it's the Oilers or anybody else.
I would point to the mentality. Yeah, go ahead.
Reed, can you lower I'm trying to lower it on my end. It doesn't seem to be working. It just keeps skyrocketing here. Can you lower it just a tad? How about now?
He turned it down all the way.
No, now you're completely off. So.
Okay, how's that? Check.
That's way better.
About as low as that's where I started at yesterday, and then I had to crank.
No, you can bring it up just a bit more, Reed. Just a bit more.
Okay. Well, this is a shameful debacle on my part.
No. It's great.
That is one of I'm failing like the Oilers. One of the basic skills of being on radio is having your mic level.
Hey, you came in hot. You're the heat on this show. But Reed, before Tom gets in there, I just want to say I agree with you. I think the puck moving is atrocious for this team right now. We saw a couple of shifts with Dermott and Nurse in that zone, and Dermott just kind of like threw it up in the air at the forward on the boards. Like it was almost like a panic move. And then Dermott throws it at Nurse in the same kind of sense in a panic move, and then that leads to a penalty. So I think what you're seeing, Reed, is spot on. This team is having a hard time moving that puck. And Tom, we talked about it with Cass, where are they a slow team or are they just slow at moving the puck that makes them look slow, right?
Their puck moving ability, and Reed outlined it very well, and I love his breakdown because he's still fired up clearly, is their puck moving ability is atrocious right now. It's atrocious, and that's why they look slow. They sit there, they wait, they look for the right pass, and then they get that opportunity, and they find a seam, and they fire a pass like 6 feet off a guy's stick, and then they have to play defense because the other team gets the puck back easily, regroups, and attacks. Like, it has happened so much, and it's not just Darnell Nurse who's making those terrible passes, the outlet passes. Dermott's done it. He had a bad night tonight, Reed. There have been times where, Kulak has had an errant pass. Even Bouchard has had a slow start to the season, and he sits there and he waits and he waits and he waits. And I think at one point, Darnell today was sitting there behind the net ready to break out, and he looked, and there was nobody circling back, and he kind of put his glove up in the air. He's like, where is everybody? It's that stuff that makes them slow. Reed, am I off there?
No, I don't think you're off. Like they're totally discombobulated. Like it's almost as if they don't know what positions they should be playing.
Yeah.
Like that's the confusing thing. They're making novice team mistakes. Oh, my left wing or right wing. I don't know my left from my right. And that's what's really weird. I think we're starting with some very basic things before we talk about some other stuff. I did think the first 30 minutes of the game tonight, though, were fairly decent.
Yes.
And then I started to think things got off the rails. I mean, there was that one shift that led to the Derek Ryan penalty when they just kept passing the puck back into their own corner instead of trying to clear it.
Oh man, yep.
That was pretty bad. And then the goal. I think it was the Mantha goal. Was he the guy that got away from Hyman and roofed it?
Yes.
That was a hell of a backhand, by the way.
And they had McDavid's line on their heels.
And
that
what
entire
what were
shift.
they do? How were they covering?
They were watching.
Wait.
Puck watching.
Who am I? They didn't know who was covering what. They got totally out-cycled and confused on the cycle.
No, you're spot on. And just I brought up earlier to read Nurse a couple of times, at least twice in his own zone. He can't even connect to a pass in the neutral zone. They go for icing or it's a turnover. It's just extremely frustrating. And before you joined us, we heard from Darnell Nurse. And again, he's like, if we had the answers why we start like this, and that just frustrates me even more. Like for a team that's been through so much, and Tom alluded to it, like, the COVID year, losing to the Blackhawks, losing to Winnipeg, missing the playoffs.
No more lessons to be had. Like they've learned everything. They've had every hardship a team should en route to a championship. They've lost in every round plus the COVID round where it was a play-in round. Like there are no more lessons.
All right. I'm going to just bring another thing up.
Go ahead.
And then I will leave and wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving. First of all, and for people who listen to me in the past, you will know I don't like getting too deep into officiating stuff because, Tom, as you know, when you host a post-game show, people are emotional.
Yes.
And I found Rob and I could have done 82 games a year on the refs, even when the Oilers won. Yeah. Always somebody wants to bitch about something, blame the refs. My team's the victim team. And I just don't like making every show about that, unless there was an obvious mistake by a ref or a confusing call that I would try to go into the rule book and figure out why it was made.
Right.
I don't have a lot of time for people complaining about 50-50 calls because those are going to affect both teams equally in the long run. I'm tired of the goalie interference stuff. Even the explanation they put out for the Corey Perry goal is flimsy in my mind. And a couple things, 3 things, I think. I'll just talk.
Go for it.
Perry did not, in my mind, affect Vladar's opportunity to save the puck. I realize he had half a skate in the crease, but I didn't think he affected Vladar's opportunity to save the puck. I interviewed Kelly Rudy every week during the hockey season on my show for 11 years. He said as a goaltender, he accepted, he said, I got to battle for position. He said, I realize the crease is there, but I also think I have to battle for position. That is my physicality as a goaltender. So that's a play where it's like Vladar's got to man up and battle for position.
Right.
And I also think on that play, Rasmus Andersson got off the hook for some horrible defensive play because he abandoned Corey Perry in front after checking him.
Untouched.
And then he leaves him alone and Perry flicks the deflection in, and Anderson is off the hook on goalie interference. I would just get rid of the review on that call. But as soon as they challenge it, what do they challenge? I guess we really got to look at this. That's just not good. It's very frustrating. It usually takes goals off the board. It's meant to correct egregious errors. And usually with goalie interference, you don't see an egregious error. You see something very nitpicky like that that negates the goal. I'm not a fan of the offside challenge either, but I've come to accept it because usually offside is black and white. And the Oilers were clearly offside on that goal today. But Furlat and Eric Furlat and Kendrick Nicholson were the referees. I did not think it was a well-officiated game. I don't understand why Leon Draisaitl gets a penalty for lightly tapping a Calgary player on the gloves when he's back checking. And earlier in that period, Matthias Ekholm can cross-check a Calgary player into the boards, and that's not a penalty. That's a ridiculous standard. And part of my problem tonight is not just with the work of those 2 officials tonight, and they were crappy. Mm-hmm. But this is, I want everybody to remember, it's beyond the officials. These are the rules that the teams want. I mean, the refs and Gary Bettman don't make up the rule book. There's a competition committee. There's inputs from GM and coaches and the board of governors, who's ever represented by each team. They decide on the rules, and they've decided this is how they want goalie interference to be handled. They are okay with this in the NHL, blatantly pissing their fans off and delaying games with video reviews that are unnecessary and confusing. This is how the NHL is treating you, the hockey fan. I hope the people on YouTube can see me pointing.
See you pointing.
So remember that, nasties. This is the NHL giving you the middle finger, saying we're making these rules and telling our referees to enforce them, knowing that they irritate you. And I mean every you, not just Oilers fans. I think this is spread across the hockey world. I love you both. Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving, Reed Rick. Well done, sir. All right, go have a beer, my friend. Reed Wilkins from the Reed Wilkins Show every day,
Reed.
Monday to Friday. Yes, 3 to 6 with Jay Milne. I will read the NHL's explanation of the Corey Perry overturned goal. Explanation. Video review determined Edmonton's Corey Perry had a significant presence in the crease, which impaired Dan Vladar's ability to play his position prior to his goal. The decision was made in accordance with Rule 69.1, which states in part, quote, goals should be disallowed only if, 1, an attacking player, either by his positioning or by contact, impairs the goalkeeper's ability to move freely within his crease or defend his goal, unquote, end of statement.
It was a brutal call because Corey interferes with him early, but then Vladar sets up again. And so at the end of the day, you're calling goalie interference because he had a skate in the blue paint. If that's going to be the way this is going to go all year, Tom, the NHL is in for a lot of headaches. And for it to take that long, like, it was embarrassing. Like, for me, and you know, Tom, you and I don't like to blame the refs. I don't think they lost today because of the refs. We're just talking about one call, which was a bad call. And if you ask any hockey or media people around, everybody, not just in Edmonton, said that was a brutal call. It was terrible. Absolutely terrible. There's no interference on that one. The offside, sure, offside. Arvidsson's got to be better there. He's got to read the play better. He was a foot offside. I'm not complaining about that one. But yeah, Reed's right. That was a terrible call. And the length it took was just terrible.
Stupid.
Those two refs were terrible tonight.
They did not have a good night, and they had a really bad 5-minute sequence in the first period, particularly where it highlighted how tough of a night they were having. So well done, Reed, and he was very angry in the first intermission. I thought I had to calm him down. I'm like,
did you get him a slice of pizza?
Yeah, he got a slice of pizza. And I patted him on the back. It's so good. You're going to be okay. You can talk about it on the show tonight. And sure enough, he did. Well done, Riedrich. Okay, we need to get to a couple of things. We need to do player of the game, and then we should wrap up with some text. I think we'll go to about 10 o'clock, Hernan. What do you think?
Sure. Yeah, that's perfect for me. Yeah.
It's been a fun show.
It has. I mean, the views, the thumbs up, the interaction. Like I said, it's hard to keep track of the nasty. We're trying to read as many as we can, but they just keep going up and up and up, and it goes really fast. But I'm seeing a lot of just a lot of people upset about the mentality of this team. Again, I think this team is beyond that. Someone's asking if they have a sports psychologist. They do, Tom.
They do. They have George Mumford is back. He's been around the locker room. Remember, he's the pump up guy that worked with, who did he work with? MJ and Kobe. He's around. I've seen him this week. He's a very friendly guy, and they have all the tools at their disposal to be a good team. It's a matter of using those tools properly and making it work on the ice. There's a disconnect there. It's just not happening. They're playing like crap right now.
Yeah, I know. It's
as a whole. They've had good moments. We have to reiterate that.
They played in parts well yesterday and today. Their start was really good today. You just wish they could have, bumped that up to a 2-0 lead, because I think that changes the complexion of the game. But there's no more excuses for this team, Tom. I'm sorry, man. You made it to the finals, Game 7. You're one shot away from winning it all. I'm not sitting here listening. And that's when I listened to Darnell Nurse. And listen, I know he's not going to go out there and rip his team and rip himself and do anything like that. He's going to give the cliche, well, if we knew the answer. It's just like, I'm so tired of it. Like, this guy's 29 years old.
Yeah.
It seems like he's getting, I'm not going to go there, but it just seems like he's continuing his struggles from the playoffs, Tom. And it's frustrating. And the money, sure, whatever. It is what it is to this point. We can't worry about it. He's not going anywhere. He has a no-trade clause. He's not taking a seat in the press box because he's a veteran. He's a core guy, and he should be a guy you can depend on. And right now, Tom, 3 games in, you can. And people are already pointing at his partner again. Yes, it's unfortunate he doesn't have a good partner. He doesn't. They tried Emerson, young guy, didn't work. Now they're trying Travis Dermott, who came in on a PTO, 27-year-old guy who's a 6'7" on most teams, and you're asking him to play those heavy minutes. I said it. There's no more excuses for Darnell Nurse, so I'm not going to go there with his partner. You have to elevate that pairing, and Darnell Nurse needs to step it up. And this is not an attack on Nurse. All 6 defensemen have to be better. All of them. None of them have been good, and that includes Bouchard and Ekholm, who everybody loves as a top pairing, and with good reason because they're a hell of a pairing, but they haven't been good either, Tom.
No, they haven't. I'm going to say it. Evan Bouchard, at this point in his career, is a perpetually slow starter. Ekholm has been okay at best, but he hasn't been the stud number one that the Oilers have leaned on the last year and a bit. So as a fan of the team, you would hope that they would shake it off and be better in game number 4. We'll see if that happens, but
and Philadelphia's going to be tough. Like Torts,
they're a feisty team, man.
You don't think Torts has those guys saying, "Hey guys, these guys are 0-3. We can roll in here."
100% he does. Everybody is. Everybody's looking. They're going to watch this tape on the Oilers over the last 3 games and be like, "Well, you just pressure this D-man. That guy, if he has the puck, he'll probably make a terrible pass. So just force him a little bit. If the forwards don't get the puck, you should be able to create turnovers and this and that, and hey, shoot for the rebound because they don't pick up their guys in front." Like, that tape is available. We're identifying it.
Yeah.
If we can see it, actual scouts and video coaches are 150% seeing it and then some, and seeing stuff that we're missing. Guaranteed. All right. 780-218-9999. We've got about 10 minutes left. Of course, Nasty Chat doing its thing. Hit that thumbs up. Nat, so let's do the player of the game. Maybe we'll roll one more player interview as well, and then we'll get some final thoughts and text. What do you think?
Sounds good.
Okay, let's do player of the game really quickly. Damon Bunting, Remax Sleep, player of the game, brought to you by Damon Bunting, consistent, top-producing realtor at Greater Edmonton and among Western Canadian Remax realtors. He and his team would love to help you find that right home or make the move from your current home. Check him out, DamonBunting.com, or visit his Instagram at Damon Bunting Real Estate. Latino Heat, who is our Damon Bunting Remax Sleep player of the game tonight?
Yeah, one of the new guys, Jeff Skinner, is going to be the player of the game. He was around it tonight. He was active. He could have had 2. He scored his first goal. He had 6 shots on net. He was a dash one, but I thought overall he was their best forward. I thought Corey Perry was good. I thought Connor Brown was good, but yeah, for me, it's Jeff Skinner tonight. It's not close. Again, I think Stuart Skinner was better, Tom, but when you lose,
he was good.
You can't pick him as the player of the game. Yeah. So I'm going to go with Jeff Skinner as the Damon Bunting player of the game.
Nicely done, Hernan. All right, I'm going to read a couple texts and we'll roll into who do we have for audio, you said?
So we can go to Connor or Coach.
Okay. We're going to do Connor. I'm going to read a couple texts. We'll go to Connor McDavid in the Oilers locker room. Fireman Trev says, Oilers post-game bingo squares. We got to do better. We got to take the bull by the horns. Everyone here has to look in the mirror one game at a time. Let's see if we get some of those bingo squares like Fireman Trev said. Here's Connor McDavid.
Your group tonight?
I thought we got off to a good start, obviously, and a couple bad bounces with some of those goals. Not going our way, obviously, but ultimately just not good enough.
Are you guys up to the emotional level and playing with the intensity you need to right now, or is that something that's...
No, probably not. Yeah, probably not. We're getting beat in a lot of battles, getting beat in a lot of different ways.
You guys have been the best offensive team in the NHL for a few years, and 3 goals in 3 games, obviously well below your standard. What do you feel you need to do collectively as a group to get back on track offensively?
Well, the puck play's been bad all over. Puck play has just been, guys fumbling it, guys not handling it, passes in the air, passes behind guys, just not good enough in terms of the puck play, when you're not clean with the puck, it's tough to generate offense. It just is.
Hard to find an answer to that, Connor, because that's not, that's kind of a forte of your group, right?
Yeah.
Is it hard to explain why that's happened collectively right now?
Well, I think it starts about, I think your habits and practice, and I think we can be better there too. Be better all over.
Getting the puck out of your end cleanly enough in your zone exits to get the puck going up ice.
Yeah, that's part of it. That's part of puck play, right? Is breaking the puck out, putting it into good spots on the forecheck. That's all part of it. Being clean with it is important, and we haven't been very clean with the puck.
Connor, after the start last season and all the talk about a good start, the importance of one this season, is there any way to really explain kind of what's gone on in the first 3 games so far?
I'm sure there's lots of ways to explain it, but ultimately it hasn't been good enough. I've said that numerous times here. Up and down the lineup, myself first and foremost, and everybody can be better, and everybody will be better.
Is this something you just have to work your way out of, or you're not just going to turn the switch?
Well, nobody. Well, we're not quitters in here. We never have been. Losing 3 in a row off the bat is not ideal, but nothing we can't work out of.
All right, there's Connor McDavid tonight. 1 assist, -2, 20-27 time on ice, 5 shots on net, and he also chipped in with 2 hits, and he was 41.7% on the dot. Hernan, we got some praise for you out of Calgary. He says, thank you, Hernan. Nurse is regressing in his career. When he got drafted and first came in, I hoped he might be a poor man's Pronger. Now I just wish he was a million per year caliber defenseman.
I don't know if he's regressing. He's because he shows it in spurts that he's a really good defenseman, Tom. He's far too inconsistent. Just go back and look at that third goal. Like, he is so lost.
They were showing it on the highlights, and he was in no man's land.
And that shouldn't happen. I mean, if that's Emerson or if that's a Travis Dermott, I'll be like, okay, I get it, but not Darnell Nurse. Like, or even if he was 21, but at 29 years old, with the amount of minutes this guy plays, everything this team as a whole has been through, the ups and downs, mostly downs for a large part of his career, you just think his hockey sense and his experience would be top notch, and it just seems like it's not getting better, Tom.
He's in his own head. That's my sense of it, and it's totally affecting his game.
And McDavid said it there. You heard it. He goes, "We can't get
the puck. Awful puck play.
Yes. They're getting passes and they're at their shins. It's behind them, and again, he's not taking a shot at his defense when he's talking as a whole, the whole team. But you read between the lines, they're like, the defense needs to be a lot better. And Paul Coffey is he's only human, Tom. He's not a magician. He, the sayings. He did it last year. He made the guys make plays. He made the guys, own it. And he said, if not, we'll find someone that will. And I think it's the same approach now. But again, he's got a lot of third pairing defensemen that their strong suit is not moving the puck quickly. And it's tough.
All right, let's wrap it up with a couple of texts here. Babbage Stash says, Nando and Googs. Oh, I love it. Googs is what Struddy likes to call me. Good to see Struds on the broadcast tonight. I am choosing to be positive, says Babbage Stash, tonight, and looking forward to Philadelphia and a butt kicking there on Tuesday. So I'm moving past this game by eating a massive donair. Best donair in the city is, Natso, what would you say?
Ooh, it's a tough one. Can I go to Beaumont for this?
Yep.
Mayna's. If you've ever been in Beaumont, go to Mayna's Donair. It is probably one of the best I've ever had in this great province of Alberta.
Is that Pat and Jeremy Ketty's mom's place?
Yes. Yeah, that's right. I totally forgot
hear it's
about that.
phenomenal.
It's phenomenal.
I haven't had a chance. If I end up in Beaumont, which I haven't been to in years, I will definitely check it out. And I recommend Swiss Donair, 142nd Ave, 82nd Street, up on the north side, but absolutely delicious, succulent Donair. Al says, Tommy, Reed hit it on the spot. The NHL under Bettman has sewered how the game is officiated, from one missed offside goal resulting in the offside rule, the goal change rule, the game management. Hell, Colin Campbell literally emailing officials to favor calls towards his son. Joke of a league in that respect. Al, good examples, and not every league is spotless. But yes, those are some glaring ones from the NHL, and I can't disagree with you on there. I agree with you. Scalding Gord says, thanks, EST, to let us talk through the struggles. Bless you. Thank you, Scalding Gord. Atif says, the Oilers are 0-3. Must have had a lot of turkey as they were very slow. Happy Thanksgiving to all. There's no show on EST tomorrow. See you all on Tuesday. Philadelphia comes to town. Shaggy in St. Albert, never one to mince words, says, Flames work hard and have heart. Oilers don't. Country club attitude and entitlement of McDavid and Draisaitl are the identity of the Oilers. As I said last year, put up or shut up. Overplayed in every game this year. 2 of those were against inferior opponents. McDavid and Draisaitl have been failures as the leadership of this team. The great ones would not allow this to happen. Shaggy in St. Albert, not a happy camper tonight, and with some choice words for the Oil and their leadership. Safety Bob says the Oilers look slow, timid, and confused. 97-29 looked average. Safety Bob, I'm with you there. Hyman looked like a fourth-line plug, and the D, well, no words. The Oilers look like they just don't care. Hard to watch the last 2 periods. And Looney Len says, I thought Tommy was going to call the Oilers mentally slow. I would agree with that. Looney Len, they play slow with the puck, just to decipher this. And up here, mentally, it isn't firing as quickly as it should either. So a little bit of both, my friend. But let's see if they can figure it out. They've done it in the past. This 0-3 start is bad. On a good note, the PK goes 3 for 3. The Oilers did score first. However, the result is the same. The last half of the game, not particularly enlightening by any stretch of the means. And we'll see if they can clean it up on Tuesday. Nat, so any final thoughts from you?
Well, let's get ready for Tuesday. Enjoy the day off tomorrow, Tommy. We're all back on Tuesday. And, Tuesday should be an interesting one as they close out this homestand against the Philadelphia Flyers. Can't wait, Tommy.
Let's go. That game is at 8 o'clock for whatever reason. We'll be on the air with the GCL Diesel Oil Stream pregame show at 7 o'clock. Join myself, Hernan Salas, and Matt Kassian for that one. And it should be a lot of fun as we await Edmonton's first victory of the season. They drop a 4-1 decision to the Calgary Flames tonight. 0-3 on the season. Awful start to the year. We look to Tuesday. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. For Hernan Salas, Reed Wilkins, and Matt Kassian, I'm Tom Gazzola saying, enjoy your holiday Monday. See you on Tuesday. Bye-bye.